everybody, I hope this class finds you well. I hope everybody's doing okay and you're looking after yourselves, you're looking after each other. Most importantly, at this time that you're recognising sort of how you're feeling and what's going on for you. So just with the next half an hour, 40 minutes, just finding that time for yourself and just finding some ability within yourself to connect with how you're feeling. And then by looking after yourself, you're then in a much better place to be looking after each other as well. And at the moment, that's the most important thing. So just looking after yourselves, but giving yourself time to then look after those around you, keeping everybody well as they can be at the moment. So find yourself somewhere comfortable, find yourself somewhere quiet, and take a moment just to close down the eyes if that's comfortable, or just keep the gaze softly in front of you. I thought this evening we'd have a slightly different focus. I thought we'd work a little bit more into our core. So our core is fundamental to everything that we do in yoga, but it's really important in our everyday just to have that strength in our core and our mid part, so everywhere from sort of the shoulders right down to thighs, really finding that strength and stability. It will help with our posture. When we're sitting for so long, we can be slouching, so helping to find that strength in those areas can help protect those vital organs, help protect those big muscle groups, and help to kind of carry over into our everyday sort of being. So that's going to be a bit of our focus later on this evening. So for the moment, just find yourself comfortably sitting cross-legged on your mat. If it's not comfortable to cross your legs, then just take your legs straight out in front of you, or take a cushion, take a bolster, whatever works for you. And with the eyes gently closed, just take a moment to come into your breath. So observing the breath as it enters through the nose, filling up your chest, your lungs, your diaphragm, and really expanding that lower part of the belly as you breathe in, and relaxing as you breathe out, letting everything just melt away, sinking down into the mat as you breathe out. Connecting in with the rhythm of your own breath. So feeling the whole of the front body rise as you breathe in, and exhaling, letting it all go. Taking a few more breaths in your own time, really arriving on the mat, really connecting with how you're feeling. Initially just observing the body. Maybe you've been sitting a lot already, or maybe you're actually enjoying sitting down. Maybe you've been up and about and working and going to the shops and doing those things that we do. So just taking your time here, finding that focus, finding that stillness. And when you're ready, we're going to roll over onto our knees. Coming to start in our extended child's pose. So taking the knees to the width of the mat, taking the heels together, toes together, sitting back on the heels, and then slowly starting to walk the fingers forwards. So taking the hands straight forwards, spreading the fingertips wide, the wrists, the elbows are lifted up off the mat, keeping the gaze beyond the hands. And finally, keeping this a very active pose when you can't stretch forward anymore, taking the forehead down to the mat and just resting here. So keeping it an active pose, keeping the shoulders moving down away from the neck, keeping the fingers spreading forwards. sinking the hips back down to the heels. And then inhaling, coming up to all fours, drawing the knees back together, maybe replanting the hands. Coming now into our cat-cow series, so taking the wrists and the hands directly underneath the shoulders, the knees directly underneath the hips. We're going to inhale as we tuck the tailbone, gazing up to the sky, and then exhale, leading with the hips, rounding through the spine, tucking the chin down, taking the gaze towards the navel. Inhaling once more, starting at the base, lifting the hips, lifting the head. Inhaling, exhaling, rounding through the spine, taking the gaze down to the navel. Doing 3 more in your own breath. So inhaling, tucking the tailbone, gazing up. Exhaling, rounding through the spine. Inhaling, 2 more. Gazing up. Exhaling, rounding. Tucking the chin in last. Final one. Inhaling, tucking the tailbone, gazing up to the sky. Exhaling, rounding through the spine, tucking the chin in towards the chest. Coming now back to a neutral position. Starting now to open through the sides of the body. So we're going to take our thread the needle pose. So taking the right hand up to the sky. Inhaling, gazing to the fingertips, and then exhaling, threading that arm through, taking the right cheek down to the mat, bending through the left elbow. Inhaling once more, gazing up to that top hand. Exhaling, threading that arm through the gap. 1 more. Inhaling, gazing up. Exhaling, taking that arm through. Inhaling, coming back to the centre, and then taking it to the other side. So inhaling, left hand up to the sky. Exhaling, folding that arm through. 2 more. Inhaling, gazing up. Exhaling, threading the arm through. Last one. Inhaling, gazing up. Exhaling, threading the arm through. Inhaling, coming back to the centre, taking now our tiger pose. So taking the right arm, right leg and left arm up to the sky. We're going to stretch forward, stretch back, and then exhale, drawing the knee to the elbow, taking the head down to the knee. 2 more. Inhaling, stretching forward, stretching back, exhaling, coming into centre. 1 more on this side. Inhaling, stretching forward. Exhaling, rounding through the spine. Coming back to neutral. Taking it to the other side. Inhaling, stretching forward, stretching back. Exhaling, rounding through the spine. Inhaling, stretching forwards and back. Exhaling, rounding down. Last one. Inhaling, stretching forward, stretching back. Exhaling, rounding, tucking the head down to the knee. Coming back to our tabletop, we're going to tuck the toes, lift the knees up off the ground, sink the hips back to the heels, coming into our downward facing dog. So replanting the hands, spreading through the hands, rolling the shoulders away from the ears, sinking the heels down towards the ground, breathing here. For 1, maybe walking the feet up and down, stretching out the back of the legs, allowing the head to tuck down, gazing towards the navel. 3, 4, and then finding stillness. For 5, we're going to walk the feet to the top of the mat, coming to our forward fold. So allowing maybe a slight bend in the knees, allowing the head to hang heavy, maybe holding on to opposite elbows with the feet slightly apart and just rocking slightly from side to side. And then releasing the elbows, and slowly roll up all the way to standing. The head 2, Tadasana, mountain pose. So taking the feet together, rolling the shoulders back, away from the ears, palms are facing forward. Kneecaps are pulling up to the thigh, tailbone is tucked. You're going to inhale, take the arms up above the head, holding on to the left wrist with the right hand. We're going to stretch up and then over to the right. Keeping both hands, both elbows nice and straight. Keeping the gaze forwards and inhaling, coming back to the center, taking the opposite wrist. Exhaling, using that left hand to draw the right over as you take the hips to the right. Inhaling back to the center once more, swapping the grip, coming over to the side, keeping the legs nice and strong. Inhaling back to the center and once more coming to the left. Inhaling, coming to the center, taking the fingers in an interlock position, raising the arms up to the sky, gazing up to the hands. Just going to slowly lean back, maybe taking the chin towards the back wall, dropping the shoulders back away from the ears. And then inhaling, coming to center, releasing the hands and then folding forwards. Good. Gonna inhale, raise all the way up again to standing. Coming to stand again at the front of your mat. Gonna inhale, take the arms up to the sky and then exhale, folding forwards. Maybe the hands are coming down to the mat, or maybe they're just resting on the shins. Either is fine. Gonna inhale, take the fingertips to the mat, or taking the fingers, the hands to the shins, looking forward, keeping the back nice and flat. We're gonna bend the knees, plant the hands, step the right foot, step the left foot back to plank. We're gonna stay in our plank for a moment, pushing through the shoulders, keeping the legs nice and strong. We're going to slowly lower the body down for a count of 6, 5, bending the elbows in towards the body, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming to rest on the belly. Taking now a few back bends. So taking the hands either side of the chest. We're going to take the forehead down to the mat, zip the legs up together. We're going to come into our cobra. So inhaling, raising the head, zipping the legs together, and then releasing the hands. So we're using the back muscles, the strength of the back to come up into our cobra, taking the gaze up for 3, 4, and 5. Releasing down, taking the hands to the side, taking the gaze to the right and releasing here. Inhaling, coming back to the center, taking the hands a little bit further down than where they were before, taking the legs slightly apart this time, keeping the glutes nice and soft. We're going to come up into our Sphinx pose, so taking the body further up this time if that's comfortable in the back, keeping the legs nice and soft, keeping a slight bend in the elbows, taking the gaze up to the corner of the room for 3, 4, and 5. Releasing the body down, taking the hands to the sides of the body, taking the gaze to the left and releasing down. Good. Inhaling, coming back to the center. We're going to take our hands this time underneath our thighs. So with our hands underneath our thighs, we're going to keep our forehead down on the ground. We're going to inhale, take the right leg up to the sky for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Release it down. Left leg now up to the sky for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Releasing it down, releasing the hands. Let's take the hands out in front of you. So keeping the hands down on the ground. We're going to start with our forehead on the ground. Then we're going to lift our right leg and left hand up to the sky, lifting the head up, gazing up for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Releasing down, and then the other side, taking the left leg, right arm up for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Releasing down. This time taking both arms, both legs up to the sky. For 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Releasing down, taking the hands down to the side, taking the gaze to the right, letting everything go here. Final round, coming back to the center. We're going to take our hands either side of our head. We're going to inhale, lift again, everything up. Drawing the elbows back, opening the chest. For 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Releasing down, taking the hands down to the side, taking the gaze to the left, letting everything go. Drawing the hands now back down by the shoulders. We're going to tuck the toes, sink the hips back, coming to rest in our child's pose. So taking the forehead down, taking the hands down either side of the thighs, resting here for just a moment, and then coming back onto all fours, tucking the toes, lifting the hips, coming back into our downward facing dog, maybe just pedaling out the feet slightly here, and then again walking the feet up towards the hands. We're going to cross the feet, coming down to lie back down on our backs. So coming here into a half bridge position. So we're going to take the hands down towards the back of the heels. We're going to plant the feet, lift the hips up as we inhale, tucking the chin down towards the chest. For 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Slowly, vertebra by vertebra, rolling down, bending the knees in towards the chest, maybe just rolling the spine slightly from side to side. And then from here we're going to roll up and down on the spine a couple of times, gathering some momentum, and then coming to sit with our legs out in front of us, drawing the flesh of the buttocks out to the side, drawing the feet so the toes are curling up towards you. We're going to inhale, elongate the spine, and then exhale, taking a forward fold. If the hands don't quite reach the feet, the hands can just come down to either side of the shins, just keeping sure that the back stays nice and straight, so we're not rounding too much in the back. Keeping the gaze beyond the toes for 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, coming up. Going to bend the knees so that the flat of the feet is on the floor. We're going to come up now into our Navasana boat pose. So it might be enough to stay here with the feet grounded down on the floor. That's fine. You can take the feet up so they're at 90 degrees, or you can take the legs out above, wherever you are, holding here for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Staying where you are, we're going to slowly lower down to our low boat for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, coming up, high boat for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Final one, slowly down for low for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, coming up, crossing the feet, planting the hands, stepping or jumping back to plank. You can take an optional vinyasa here, or you can come down and rest in child's pose. So we're going to come down through our chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Again, at any stage, resting in child's pose as you need. From downward facing dog, if you're here, we're going to slowly roll forwards, coming into our plank. So we're going to hold here for about 10 breaths, keeping the arms nice and strong, planting the hands, pushing up through the shoulders. For 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We're going to slowly lower down for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Okay. So we're starting to fire up our core here. So taking rest either in downward facing dog or dropping, if you need, to the knees, resting here in child's pose. So wherever you are, recalibrating, I'm going to come through that little set once more. So rolling forwards, coming into your plank. So planting the hands if you need to, holding here for 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Slowly lowering for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Good. Letting the breath settle again. Taking child's pose if you need to. So we'll take child's pose for a moment. Letting the breath settle. Wrapping the arms around the legs. Taking the forehead down to the ground. And then inhaling, coming back up to our tabletop position. So we're going to come now into our side plank variation. So stepping the right, stepping the left foot back to our plank. Here there's the option to come through gate and take side plank through gate with the right knee bent and the left foot straight out, with the option then to extend the left arm up to the sky. So that's option 1. The other option is to keep both legs extended. Again, keeping the arm up, or the hand can stay on the hip for stability. Holding here, maybe taking the leg up to the sky for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Coming back through plank, coming onto the other side. So if you came through gate on the one side, do the same on the other. Otherwise, taking your side plank, maybe lifting that top leg up for 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Coming back down into our plank. Again, either coming to rest in child's pose or taking a vinyasa. Coming through chaturanga, inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Resting where you need to. Otherwise, from here, we're going to bend the knees, step through to the front of the mat. Coming down now onto our backs. So taking the knees in towards the chest, rolling slightly from side to side. Coming now to focus a little bit more on our core, so taking the hands down either side of the hips. Taking the legs up to 90 degrees. We're going to slowly lower the legs all the way down to hover just off the ground. Hovering here and slowly bringing the legs all the way back to 90. Brill. This time we're going to go from 90, lower the legs to 60, lower the legs to 45, lower the legs to 30, lower the legs to 15 degrees, and then back up to 30, to 45, to 60, to 90. Hold them here. We'll do that once more. Lower them down to 60, to 45, to 30, to 15, just off the ground, and back up to 30, to 45, to 60, to 90, and bring the knees in towards the chest. Rolling slightly from side to side, just massaging out the lower back onto the ground and drawing the knees back up. This time we're going to keep the left leg where it is and slowly lower the right leg all the way down and then swap. Bringing the left leg down and all the way up, the right leg down and up, the left leg down. Now doing them both at the same time, as slow as you can. For 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Drawing the knees in towards the chest, rolling slightly from side to side. Good. Okay. Final one here. So let's take the knees 90 degrees above the hips. We're going to take our elbows, our fingertips to our temples. We're going to take the left elbow to the right knee as we straighten the left. So inhaling for 1 and back to the centre. Other side for 2, for 3, for 4, for 5, we'll do 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Releasing down, drawing the knees in towards the chest. We're going to roll all the way up over our feet, planting the hands, stepping back to our plank and taking a vinyasa. Inhaling all the way up to our upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Again, taking rest if you need to. otherwise holding here. I'm going to bend the knees, step or jump to the front of the mat. Fingertips on the ground, looking forwards, exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, arms coming up above the head, exhaling, hands in front of the chest. Okay, again inhaling, taking the arms up, exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, fingertips on the ground, looking forward, bending the knees, stepping or jumping back to plank, dropping through chaturanga, inhaling, upward facing dog, exhaling, downward facing dog. From here we're going to come into pigeon, so taking the right foot behind the left wrist, the right knee behind the right wrist. We're going to take that left foot back to the back of the mat. If it's too much to draw that right hip down here, you can take some height underneath that right hip. So maybe take a block or something, or a cushion, drawing the chest up with the fingertips on the ground, and then exhaling, folding forwards, allowing the body here just to rest down. Taking the hands out in front of you, maybe taking the forehead down to the ground. Just allowing that right glute to release down into this posture. So being quite dynamic, being quite sharp and intense. So allowing the body here to just reset. Allowing the breath to come back down. Allowing this pose to be completely passive. Letting the mind quieten back down. We'll be here for another minute or so, so just letting go completely. Aim to not let the mind wander. If you sense the mind wandering, bring it back to the breath. Okay, inhaling, coming back to the centre. I'm going to plant the hands, tuck that back toe, step the right foot back to our downward facing dog, maybe pedaling out the feet slightly here, left and right, and then coming onto the other side. So left foot behind that right wrist, left knee down behind the left wrist, slowly taking that right foot back down to the back of the mat. Again, if you need some height under that left hip, just take a cushion or a bolster or a block or something underneath that foot, that hip. Taking the fingers to raise the body up, gazing up, and then again, slowly starting to walk the hands forward. Maybe taking the head down again onto the mat. I'll keep mine up just in case you lose my voice and my head's on the ground. So again, keeping that back foot reaching back, keeping the hands just relaxed here. So taking any activity out of the posture, allowing that left glute to really release. It's a very deep posture here. So we'll stay here for a little while. If your body's fighting it, just tell your body it's okay. If you're finding pain in that left knee, then that's that's to be avoided. So you can bend that left foot in towards the groin to soften in that left knee. Now, I didn't show you on the other side, but if this is not comfortable to stay on the floor in pigeon, you can take the reclined variation. So coming onto your back, you can take the right foot down to the floor, and you can take the left knee, bending to place the left foot over the top of that right thigh. From here then you can take the hands through, either holding onto the back of the thigh or holding round the outside of that right shin, and then drawing the left knee away from the body. So if you don't feel comfortable down on the floor in pigeon, this is a really nice alternative reclined pigeon on the floor variation. So if you are here, feel free to take a little bit of time on both sides, whilst the others, if you're in pigeon on the floor, just again releasing here, letting the mind soften and empty, releasing down to that left glute. Good. And then wherever you are, taking yourself back to meet for a final time in downward facing dog. Maybe taking any final movements that you want to take before we come into our final few postures, just to release and unwind. So walking the feet to the top of the mat, crossing at the feet, coming back down onto our backs, drawing the knees in towards the chest, and come into our happy baby. So taking the hands on the inside of the knees and taking hold of the outer blades of the feet, drawing the head back down onto the ground, tucking the chin in slightly and taking the knees wide, drawing the feet down towards the hips. Letting everything go here, maybe rocking ever so slightly, not too much, onto one side and then the other, just feeling how this drops the backs of the kidneys into the ground and releases any points of tension there. Otherwise, just finding stillness, maybe closing down the eyes as we come towards the end. And drawing the feet, the knees together, taking hold of both knees, then releasing that left foot down to the ground, coming into our easy spinal twist. So taking hold of the right knee with the left hand, taking the right hand out to the side. If you're short for space, you can bend that right elbow to make like a cactus arm, and then taking the right knee over to the left side of the body, taking the gaze over to that right outstretched fingers or to the elbow, just keeping sure that that right shoulder doesn't lift up off the ground. So if it tends to lift, just ease off slightly on that leg. Breathing deeply here, feeling the whole of the spine unwinding and releasing. Inhaling, coming back to the centre, drawing the right knee in towards the chest, taking that leg long out in front of you, then taking the left knee towards the body, taking the left knee with the right hand, taking the left fingers out to the side, taking the gaze over those left fingers, taking the right hand over the left knee, drawing that knee down towards the right. Allowing the spine to release on this side. And inhaling, coming back to the centre, drawing the knee towards the chest, and taking any final movements that you feel that you'd like to take here, coming centrally on your mat. Maybe drawing the knees once more into the chest and rolling slightly side to side, or just finding stillness in a final resting pose, our Shavasana. Keeping the shoulders just tucked under the body, tucking the hips down, allowing the feet to splay out to the sides, allowing the hands just to move gently away from the sides of the body, allowing the fingers just to gently curl in towards the palms, and just taking these final moments to let everything go. So allowing the body to be completely soft, completely relaxed, taking your practice to that final deeper level. Taking note of any areas of the body that feel like they've been working in ways that they wouldn't usually, perhaps, and just guiding the breath, guiding the energy into those areas and allowing them to reset. Taking the awareness into the feet, the heels, the ankles, just letting those joints and muscles and bones just releasing and softening. Taking the awareness up into the shins, the knees, letting them melt down into the mat. Guiding the breath up into the hips, the groin, allowing them to lie equally down on the mat and letting go of any tension there. Guiding the awareness up into the torso, to the areas around our vital organs, our heart, our lungs, allowing our chest to just release, allowing our breathing to flow easily, effortlessly in and out of the body. Guiding the energy, the awareness into the shoulders, down into the elbows and the wrists, letting them be soft as they release down onto the mat. Being aware of the sensations in the fingers, the knuckles, tips of the fingers. And taking the awareness now up into the neck, into the face, allowing there not to be any tension in the forehead, behind the eyes and the jaw, allowing the tongue to just sit comfortably in the mouth. Finding your stillness here, just letting everything go. When you're ready, starting to wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, bring a bit of life back into the body. When you're ready, gently drawing the knees in towards the chest and rolling onto your right side. Taking a couple of breaths here. Keeping the eyes closed, gently rolling up to sit cross-legged. Taking a moment here just to recognise how the body feels. Does it feel any different to when we started? Does it feel like you've been moving in ways that you maybe haven't earlier this week? And when you're ready, taking the hands to join in front of the heart centre, gently rubbing the hands together, generating some heat behind the palms, and placing the hands over the eyes, feeling the darkness and opening the eyes behind the hands, and taking the hands back down to the lap, or resting at heart centre. Namaste everybody. Thank you. As in previous weeks, if you've any feedback or thoughts or anything that you'd like to see more of or less of in classes, then do let me know. And otherwise, I hope you have a good restful week, and I will see you here next week.